Some days just feel different, like the future decided to show up all at once. Well, March 3rd, 2026 was absolutely one of those days. We saw this crazy string of massive announcements in AI, gaming, and hardware all drop on the same day, and it completely shook up the tech world. So let's break down exactly what went down, and more importantly, what it means for you. And honestly, that's not an exaggeration at all. We are talking about this perfect storm of events in AI, gaming, and hardware that really feels like we've hit a major turning point. The whole day kicked off with four huge stories breaking at pretty much the same time. First up, OpenAI. They just landed the single largest startup funding round in history. Get this, $110 billion. Just a staggering amount of money. At the very same moment, Google's DeepMind drops a bombshell. Their AI agent, which they call Aletheia, solved multiple world-class math problems, stuff that, until now, was strictly the domain of human genius. Then, for millions of gamers, the moment they've been waiting for over a decade, finally arrived. Pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6, probably the most anticipated game ever, went live on the PlayStation Store. And finally, the quiet part, the hidden consequence of this whole AI explosion. DRAM memory, and that's a critical component in almost every single piece of tech you own, is now projected to double in price starting this month. Okay, so let's start with the money, because this isn't just about a huge number. This is a massive, strategic power play that's about to totally reshape the entire hardware industry. I mean, just seeing all those zeros really puts it into perspective, right? $110 billion. Capital like this doesn't just fund a company, it builds empires and rewrites the rules of the market. So where did all this cash come from? Well, the funding came from a real power trio. Amazon dropped $50 billion, with SoftBank and Nvidia each kicking in $30 billion. But you've got to look closer at these names because there is a fascinating, almost soap opera level conflict of interest hiding inside this deal. And here is the beautiful irony of it all. Nvidia, who is OpenAI's main supplier for GPUs, is now investing in a deal where the biggest check comes from Amazon, who is building the Trainium chip, a direct competitor to Nvidia's own hardware. So think about it. Nvidia is basically funding its own competition just to make sure they have a seat at the table. The hardware war just got very, very political. But the OpenAI story gets even deeper and, frankly, a little more sci-fi. They confirmed that their own AI model, GPT 5.3 Codex, actually wrote parts of its own software and helped design the architecture for the next model. This is the first major real-world example of something called recursive self-improvement. And this is more than just a tech update. It's a huge philosophical moment. An AI that helps create its own successor isn't just a tool anymore, right? It's becoming a participant in its own evolution. And that forces us to ask some really, really big questions. All right, let's pivot to the next big signal from that day because it builds on this perfectly. While OpenAI was busy redefining creation, Google's DeepMind was redefining the very meaning of expertise with a major breakthrough in pure math. To really get how big a deal this is, you have to look at the progression. For years, AI was kind of stuck at high school level math. Then it managed to crack Olympiad level problems, which are incredibly hard, but they're still about solving problems with known solutions. But today, DeepMind's AI, Aletheia, just smashed through that wall and into PhD level research, tackling problems that don't have existing answers. And hey, don't just take my word for it. This isn't just Google hyping their own stuff. Fields medalist Terence Tao, who is one of the greatest living mathematicians on the planet, called the achievement particularly significant. That is the academic world's version of a mic drop. So here's the key takeaway. It's not just that Aletheia solved 6 incredibly difficult problems. The truly mind-blowing part is that it demonstrated what's called metacognition. In simple terms, it knows what it doesn't know. It can actually recognize when a problem is beyond its capabilities and just stop. That is a form of self-awareness we have never, ever seen in an AI at this level. Okay, so we've got self-improving AI and genius-level mathematician AI. That all sounds pretty abstract, right? So how does this future tech actually connect to you? Well, it's already hitting your entertainment and, yep, your bank account. Let's talk culture. After a 12-year wait, 12 years. The hype for Grand Theft Auto 6 is way more than just a video game launch. It's one of the biggest pop culture events of the decade. As those pre-orders finally go live, Sony is betting that this single massive blockbuster, with its insane scale and complexity, all powered by the absolute latest hardware, is going to define this entire console generation and sell PlayStation 5s for years. And here is where you feel the direct financial hit. All that incredible AI development from OpenAI and Google, it needs gigantic data centers stuffed with memory chips. That insane demand is now causing DRAM prices to literally double this month. It's like an invisible AI tax that you're going to pay the next time you buy a phone, a laptop, or a PC. Now, here's where the strategy gets really interesting. See, while Sony is going all in on the super high-end, hardware-pushing blockbuster with GTA VII, Nintendo is playing a completely different game. They just announced Pokémon Pokopia for the Switch 2, which is this chill Animal Crossing-style social game. It's their killer app, designed not to melt your graphics card, but to sell consoles to a totally different, and you could argue, much larger audience. This is a classic showdown, raw power versus mass appeal, and how it plays out is going to shape the next 5 years of gaming. So when you put it all together, the insane money, the code that improves itself, the new bar for machine intelligence, and the direct hit on your wallet and your culture, you start to realize today wasn't just another busy news day. It was a genuine inflection point. So what's the game plan for you? Well, the source material kind of lays out a clear checklist. If you're thinking about a tech upgrade, you should probably buy your RAM now before that price hike really kicks in. Obviously, keep an eye on the PlayStation Store for GTA VI, and you really want to follow Alethea's progress because that's a huge signpost on the road to AGI. That's Artificial General Intelligence, AI with human-like smarts. And finally, with Pokémon Pokopia now confirmed, the value of that Switch 2 for casual gamers just shot through the roof. March 3rd, 2026. That's the day the abstract future of AI became a very concrete reality. A reality that's changing our money, our culture, and our very definition of intelligence. The lines have been totally redrawn. So the question isn't if things are about to change anymore, it's how are we going to adapt to what's already here?